So we proceed with our class. So in the last class we talked about angles, that is how to measure an angle and how to draw the angle. We learned how to do that with the angles in the range of 0 to 180, and also how to draw and measure angles above 180. So here you want to look at angles on a straight line. What are the properties, or how do we find the size of angles on a straight line? So let's take this one for example. We want to get the fact that the angle, or a straight line, has an angle of 180 degrees. I showed you why that is the case in the first video. So when we get our protractor and measure the angle, we are going to see that it's giving us 180. Now from that 180, how do we use that property to solve for the angles that we've been asked to find? Okay, so let's get started. So we take this one for example. We have this line. Okay, so if we assume these two angles are meeting, these two lines are meeting somewhere here, okay, at this point, the intersecting point, this one, let me use this card. So if we assume these are the two lines, okay, meeting at this point and this point, so these two lines, if we say from here up to here, it's one line, okay, and this one up to there, it's one line, according to the definition of an angle, which is simply the space between, or at which two straight lines are meeting, which is formed at the intersecting point. So if we measure from right here going up, that is, and clockwise, we see that our angle is 180. So this straight line is 180. Okay, and we want to pick it up from there. And now let's assume we have this. We have this is, let me just highlight there. Okay, this is the line we have. Knowing that this straight line has an angle of 180. Now suppose you are given here, okay, that you're given that this angle here is let's say 55 degrees. Okay, so this angle here we've been given to be 55 degrees. Now we want to calculate the size of this angle, let's say x. How are we going to calculate this one? So using the property that this straight line from here up to the end there is 180, isn't it? So it's like 180, they've given you 55, find the remaining. That's the concept you need to understand. Okay, so because this whole angle, okay, this whole space between these two lines from here up to there, it's 180, but we've been given just this angle to be 55. To find the remaining, which we are calling x in this case, we'll say, okay, so the size of x, first we know that if we add x, okay, and this 55 that we've been given, okay, if we add these two angles, we should get the total of 180. Okay, so the total that we need to get is 180. So to solve for x, you make x the subject of your formula, which will be 180 noise 180 degrees minus 55. Okay, 55 degrees. You hope you get the concept and why we are doing this. Yeah, these are basic details that you need to understand on angles if you don't want to have difficulties to calculate questions which may come on this topic to do with angles. Okay, so let's now calculate 180 minus 55. We are getting 125. Okay, so we are getting 125. Now this is 125 degrees. Okay, so this is the size of the angle remaining. Yoram, this is the size of the angle remaining. So this angle here is 125 degrees. Okay, so we found the value of x. Okay, now let's suppose we've been given, okay, here one thing you have to notice, I did not use the protractor. I had put the protractor here just to remind you that the whole angle on a straight line, this one is 180. Okay, now out of 180 we were given that 55, so we are calculating for the remaining, which was x, which we have calculated to be 125. Okay, now this time let's take this for example. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, suppose we have this. Okay, all right, now we can proceed. Now this time let's say we have this one we've been given to say in this question here we've been given this. Okay, then we want to calculate the size of this angle here. Suppose this angle we have not been given. This angle we have it as A. Okay, now this angle we have it, we've been given this angle to be 70. Okay, and this angle to be 30 degrees. This is an angle. Okay, and this is an angle. How do we calculate for the value of A? Okay, so you use the same concept, knowing that the total of the angle here, it's 180. Okay, all the way from here, if we were to move from here up to there, we have 180 angle. Now we've been given to say this space here, okay, between this line and this line is 30, and between this line and this line the space is 70 degrees. That means the angle, remember we are following the definition of an angle, which is simply the space between two straight meeting lines at the point of intersection. Okay, now this time the point of intersection is here, so we want to find the remaining size here between this line and this line. What is the angle, the size of an angle here? So keeping in mind that if we add A, okay, which is an angle in this case, so say a degree, it is representing an angle, plus 70. Okay, if we add with 70 degrees, then plus 30 degrees, plus this, when we add we are going to get 180. This is the total that we need to get. Okay, now what are we going to get as the value of A? Okay, so what you are going to do is you collect like terms there. So you have your 180 degrees minus what you've been given, which when you add 70 plus 30, you are going to get 100, right? That's 100 degrees. So you are going to have your A, the size of this angle A will be 80 degrees. Okay, this is your 80 degrees. So this will be the size of your angle. Okay, yes, so this is how we calculate angles given in this form. Okay, so we looked at, this is how we calculate angles on a straight line, right? Okay, now before we move on to look at angles on parallel lines and a triangle, let's look at this one here. Okay, that is not important anyway, but you need to look at it. I guess let's look at just one example. Suppose we've been given this line, okay, like this one. So we have angles surrounding a point. Now suppose we have been given this angle is one, let's say this angle is 110. Okay, yeah, let's assume this angle is 110. Then this angle here is 70 degrees. Okay, then this angle here, okay, let's say this angle here is 110 as well degrees. We need to find the size of this angle, let's say B. Now this time, how are we going to calculate the size of this angle B? Okay, remember that these angles are surrounding a point, okay, and considering everything, the whole of this, what we have, is being measured out of 360. Okay, 360. So how do we calculate the size of angle B? So you have your B. You know that if you add angle B, this angle that you have, which should be in degrees, this angle B plus 110, okay, again plus 110 degrees, plus that 70 you have, okay, you should get 360 in total. Okay, so it's like 360 subtracting what you've been given, you are going to find what you do not have. So this is 360 degrees. So to find the size of this angle B, we will have 360 degrees subtracting what we've been given, that is we can just add directly from there, which will be, if you add 110 plus 110 plus that is 70, you are going to get 290. So you are subtracting 290 from 360 so that you can find the size of this remaining angle, okay, which will be when you say 360 minus what you have, which is 290, that will give you 70 degrees. Okay, that will give you what? 70 degrees. Yeah, I wanted you to also remember this this concept, okay, finding angles on surrounding a point. So you can also use the same concept if you haven't been given, let's say, two angles. Suppose this one was divided here and you are given this side maybe to be 65 degrees, and this one here is also given to be B, and this one is given to be, let's say, B as well, okay, which means the two angles are equal. Suppose this B and this B are equal, so you can still use the same concept. You add B plus 65 plus 70 plus 110, then you subtract from 360. All right, Okay, so now in the next video, let us look at the angles on parallel lines, just one property or two, and then we also look at angles inside and outside the triangle, which we call interior and exterior angles of a triangle. We really need to know to recall these concepts before we start our topic, which is bearing. We touched it a bit, but I think it will be better if we start with these basics. Okay, see you in the next video.